That's literally like the cheat code as to how I did so well on social media.
Ever wondered what it takes to go viral? Well, in today's episode, I speak to the TikTok genius himself, Noahxboa.
Now you're almost at 2 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah, across all of the platforms.
These are the steps that you got to take to have a chance of going viral.
You don't have to be an expert, right? You just need to be one step ahead of someone else. I think people overcomplicate it. It's really simple to go viral, and it's a thing that I wish I knew earlier.
The Gen X entrepreneurs managed to work with some of the biggest brands, amass millions of followers on social media, and crack the code on going viral.
Panasonic, Monday.com, they're paying you 10 figures to be their influencer.
It's the future of marketing, really.
If you want to grow on social media, build a brand, or know how an influencer spends their average day, this episode isn't one to miss. Let's do this.
I wouldn't focus on one video. I'd focus making 20 videos, all that have a good chance of at least one of them getting a million views.
Welcome to the BizX podcast, sharing with you all of the secrets and winning formulas in both business and life, with powerful lessons from guests like Frank Bruno, Nick Jenkins, Brad Sugars, Bianca Westwood, and many, many more. Yet, the sad reality is that over 80% of you aren't subscribed yet. And if that's you, hit the subscribe button now and help us grow this channel so that you can get 1% closer every single week to achieving your dreams in both business and life. Let's do this.
Some days I would grow. My best day was 100k in a day. That's like the amount of followers I gained in the day. That was sort of like, it just felt crazy.
How many views on that video?
So I posted one of these videos and I woke up the next day and it was on, I think, 3.5 million views, and soon enough it hit like 8 million views. I look back now and I don't even
What's your record, 8 million?
I think it might be around 9 million.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, I think on Instagram I might have one that hit over 10 million.
What was the video about?
It was about, do you know Tesla Powerwalls?
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandpa got one of those through a friend, and I just made a video about his Powerwall, and it blew up like crazy. And it was because of the hook. I basically said like, my grandpa uses Tesla to pay $0 on his electricity bill. And that hook for some reason just absolutely like exploded. Because
Why did you choose dollars instead of pounds?
I've done this a lot because I blew up pretty early in the days of TikTok. I kind of maxed out the amount of people I could reach in the UK, and then American sort of viewers started coming onto my page. So to make it easier for everyone, and because I also on Instagram I have quite a few followers from India as well. The universal currency of the world is dollars, and because I put dollars, it meant that video did really well on TikTok. It got like a couple million views, but it did extremely well on Instagram, to the point where some sort of solar panel and EV companies were literally, without my permission, taking that video, posting it on their page, and one company got like 2 million views on that video just by literally just taking it from my page and putting it on theirs.
It's very common, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it really
you
annoyed me.
You can't do anything about it though, can you?
No. There are some copyright things, but it's kind of a long process to go down. But yeah, basically that's how I got into it. I'm not an expert. I've never claimed to be an expert. I just really enjoy sharing lessons that I learn along the way.
Isn't it?
And you don't have to be an expert, right? You just need to be. This is literally what I live by. You just need to be one step ahead of someone else. And because I'm one step ahead of somebody else, I'm able to share that. And actually that's quite helpful because I'm only a little bit ahead of them in the process. They can relate to me, they can see where I'm going, and they want to join in and watch me grow.
Everyone's going on the learning journey with you, really. It's quite an interesting concept, that. It's like I'm using this. It's almost like a video log, yeah?
Yeah, it is.
To document my learnings as I'm growing.
Yes, it's really cool.
And now you're almost at 2 million followers on TikTok.
Yeah, across all of the platforms, Snapchat, Instagram, 2 million. And I've also helped grow a few other accounts as well to substantial figures, including my dad's page, which is at quite a big following as well.
Let's go on viral videos.
Yeah,
TikTok
yeah.
or Instagram, you've had 9 million, 8 million. Some people want to break the million.
Yeah.
All right. So if you were to say these are the 3, 4, 5, 6 or bullet points, these are the steps that you got to take to have a chance of going viral.
Okay. The steps you want to take, I think people overcomplicate it. It's really simple to go viral. It's just about putting out a lot of content that has the chance of going viral. And how do you make content with the chance of going viral? Well, firstly, you pick some sort of niche that you want to enter into. So with your business, whatever it sort of serves, you want to look at people creating content in that niche. So if your business is like a money management app, you want to look at videos and people who are making content around money management. You want to look at what they do well, look at their top performing posts and break it down and identify the styles that they're making the content in, identify how long they're making those videos, identify the sort of the topics that they're talking about, go really deep into analyzing these videos, and then take the top ideas, the top performing posts in that sort of niche and remix them, make them your own style. So you might see a really big video in a niche. Let's say it's money management. You might see a guy talking about a really cool method to manage your money. You'll watch it, but everyone has a unique opinion on finance or any topic that they see. So you might think, okay, that's cool, but I would actually say that instead of that. So what you can do is you can basically steal the video, but remix it into your own sort of unique perspective. And that's what I've done with a lot of content. There are no sort of original ideas. It's just all remixed and regurgitated into a new format. And that's all you need to do. So look at the styles that are doing well. Look at the sort of people that are leading in your niche and learn from them. I have a friend called Daniel Isles, and he's got a really big company called Viral Coach, where he helps coaches dominate with short form content. And what he's done, and I think this is genius, is he's created an AI algorithm that identifies all of the top people in your niche and automatically every month will find their top performing videos, put them in a spreadsheet, automatically transcribe them, and that gives you ideas because it shows you this is what's working. So what I'd say is don't waste your time just trying to come up with ideas. Look at what people do well and remix it. That's literally like the cheat code as to how I did so well on social media. And then I saw like a style that worked, and then I thought, okay, I'm really enjoying learning about this. Could I make this sort of style video with that topic? I merged them together, and some of these videos do really well. It's as simple as that.
Put a lot of posts out, identify your niche, look at the top posts, find out how long they are, what's the style, what topic are they covering, do a deep analysis of that, and remix it into your own style.
Exactly.
And off you go.
Exactly.
And do a lot of posts.
Yeah.
One of them's going to take off.
And the reason I say do a lot of posts is you can do all of that, but the first time you do it, you might not hit the algorithm. And firstly, it's because I think platforms now reward consistency. But the more shots you take, one of them might land. Not every post is going to be a guaranteed hit, but if you can do the things that will at least make it more likely to, then and regularly put out content, you will learn a lot. You'll learn actually, okay, you'll see how people responded. You'll see maybe what you need to change. So it goes together. You have to be really consistent and just find a workflow that works for you. Find ways to automate it. So maybe if you can bring in an editor, that's what I did, and it worked a lot. Maybe find a way to batch sort of record a bunch of videos. Find really efficient ways to just get content out. And then I guess the final point, like a bonus tip on top of that, is don't be too much of a perfectionist, because it's better to get more content out, I think, than trying to get the short piece of content that you're making out to be perfect. Just if you're 70% happy with a video, post it, because the extra 30% might take too long to sort of perfect over.
70% is 100%.
Yeah, basically. That's what I've learned. And it's a thing that I wish I knew earlier, because there's been so many posts I just haven't put out because it wasn't perfect, right? Just get it out. That's all you need to do.
Rustic versus polished.
Ooh. So this is an area where people go wrong a lot of the time. So Gary V, he's quite big on this idea of just get out there, go home, get your phone out and start filming videos. But what people miss is you need to do that, but he's more saying just be consistent, and it's better to put out something than nothing. But actually, if you are just going to get your phone out right now and start saying, just like rambling, again, it's not actually, that video won't probably go viral compared to one that you just sort of, where you create a system to get loads of content done. So I would rather, instead of just on the fly creating this sort of rustic style, like, hey guys, I'm here or whatever, I would rather sit down, do a bunch of idea generation, sort of batch a load of scripts, film them all in one go. So there is an element of quality within that, right? Because you're getting it all done through a system. But if your system is good, you can get out a lot of posts. So when I was going hard on TikTok, I would post 3 posts a day, and that's what really blew me up originally at the start. So I think unless you need to put some level of quality into your videos in order to stand out. There are some niches where it can be okay to film with your phone, like film with whatever you've got, but really do put some attention into the way you script your videos, the editing. I think it does matter, especially if it depends who you want to target, but I wouldn't have been able to get where I am without upgrading the quality of my videos, because it appeals to brands. It slightly sets me apart a little bit. There's this young guy, but he's got a nice setup.
When did brands start asking you to do it?
It was literally, I hit 1 million followers. I had a few small brand deals before 1 million followers, but I hit 1 million followers. And if I'm honest, I didn't even once think about the brand deals, because I was just so in love with the process. I'd figured out how to blow up, and then the brand started reaching out. The first big brand deal I got was with ZipRecruiter, which they're sort of a big company, mainly in America, but they were trying to expand into England, job sort of recruitment site. And that was for maybe 1.5k in pounds. And
what, to make a few videos or what?
3 videos, so about 500 a video. And for me, that was I'd won the lottery. I just couldn't believe it. I said at the time to my dad, how much should I charge? And he was like, I've heard them on so many podcasts, they must have a lot of budget. I was thinking, should I charge them £300? He was like, go high, mate, go high, just put out your offer. I said 1.5k. They said yes immediately. So obviously, in hindsight, I probably could have charged 5k even back then. But yeah, that's when sort of the brand started reaching out, and it's been a long process. Basically my job now, I post some brand deals on my page. I mainly work with financial companies. So I've done banks. I've worked with the Financial Times. I've worked with some investment platforms.
So is this your full-time job now?
Yeah. So
this is how an influencer makes their money.
Yeah, brand deals, but also a lot of it is UGC. So that's where the brands will pay me for my expertise in making a video. So this is what I've just landed. I talked about earlier with Panasonic. So a while ago, they hired me for 6 videos, and these videos were put on their page, and they boost them. They put money behind them. It was to promote their sort of renewable campaign. And they just hired me to come up with the idea, film the video, edit the video, and give it back to them. I manage it all for them. And you get paid a lot of money, especially when you land a big client like Panasonic. And we've just entered into another campaign as well. So working with brands like that, Monday.com, like I said again, what I do now is basically I just work with big brands that have got big budgets, because back in the day I used to work with smaller brands, and I just wasted my time. They were paying, maybe $1,000 or something, but you probably will relate to this, but the clients that pay you a smaller amount often are more work than the clients that will give you a big sort of 5-figure deal. They're just a lot more chill, because they've got money to spare. They let you kind of have the freedom. So I land 5-figure campaigns. That's basically what I try to do with different companies, and I help them with their short form social media marketing, because I've been in the field and I know what to do. So that's my job.
And are you on camera doing it for them?
Yeah, so I am on camera. I'm everything. I come up with the idea. I'm presenting on the camera. I don't edit most of my videos. That's an area that I wasn't enjoying as much, so I outsourced it, and also it took up a huge amount of my time. So I have a team of editors.
So that early on work of singing and dancing and drama has paid off, because you're on camera now. You're performing. It is a performance.
That's the thing. Yeah.
The thing is, it is a performance, irrespective of what people think.
Yes.
If you're on camera, you're performing.
Yeah, and you take on especially with certain videos, they want you to be a certain sort of personality, and you have to kind of just leave yourself behind and just sort of really get into that world. And yeah, it's helped.
All right, so Panasonic, Monday.com, they're paying you 10 figures.
Yes.
To be their influencer.
Yeah.
To help them sell products.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Yeah, I mean, it's the future of marketing, really, working with short form people, because that's where the attention is going. So a lot of these big brands are just looking for people, especially the younger generation, because they're switched on when it comes to social media. So, you know, I tell a lot of young people, if you want a good side hustle or a good skill to learn, it's short form content creation. But like anything in life, you just need to pick a skill and just double down on it. And I'm lucky that I ended up just sort of doubling down on that.
It's not just the skill though. It's the niche.
Yes.
So you've got to develop the skills, but then you've got to develop the knowledge in the niche as well. So that's what you're doing with finance, yeah?
Yes. And I'm lucky I picked that one. I never intentionally thought I'm going to do finance because it's a well-paid niche, but I soon discovered it's a well-paid niche because financial companies just have a lot more budget to spend on marketing, because when they acquire a customer, that customer to them is worth a lot. Like if I can sign one person up to an investing platform, that investing platform, the value of their company has been raised by a significant amount. It could be like $1,000. Their value is increased because that one customer is worth a lot. So I'm lucky I picked finance. I always like sort of just, I'm so thankful that I did it.
If you were to go back 3 years or 4 years and you were given the challenge of not getting to 2 million to get to 20 million, to 10x what you've achieved, what would you do different?
I do think about this sometimes. I do think, when I look back, I know there are things that I could have done that would have got me way more following.
Like what?
I didn't, if I had, when I joined TikTok for about a year, I was getting good views. Like I said, I had about 20, 30,000 views, but I wasn't making videos in a way that appealed to the algorithm. I kind of just made them in a way that just appealed to me. Like it was easy for me. So the more rustic style videos, right? So I would just, every day I would, you know, come up with 1 or 2 video ideas, get my phone out, talk to camera for a bit, quickly edit them. If I had, because I did actually, thanks to my dad and his career, I did have a bit of camera equipment around the house. If I had sort of made these videos a bit more polished earlier on, if I had actually thought about the scripts in more detail, not freestyled them so much, if I'd actually
in line with the algorithm,
if I'd followed basically my advice that I gave you earlier, and looked to what was performing well, back then it was really, really easy to just to make a video that would get 1 million views. You could pretty much guarantee it if you had a few set things. So I would have just basically thought about it a bit smarter earlier, but I didn't know, right? I'm glad I got on anyway, because I was doing a lot more than other people at my age. I was building something. At the very least, I was building something. But when I actually switched my brain on, and often in life, you just have to do that. You have to take a step back and think, okay, I'm doing well, but what are the simple changes that I can make? And I made a few simple changes. Boom.
If you were to have to get 1 million views on a video that you're making now, what would you do?
So I wouldn't be able to guarantee that, like, let's say today you said, let's make a video and it's got to get 1 million views. You can never guarantee it's going to get 1 mil. But what I would do is I would go out. So I recently did this. I went out in the street. I found a style that worked, and I made like a bunch of videos. And because I made a bunch of videos in a style that I knew was working and was appealing to TikTok, a couple of these videos did well. So I went out, I filmed like 20 videos in a day, quite a lot.
It took you all day?
Yeah, it was probably about 7 hours of filming.
Scripted?
Well, because these were out and like sort of videos that were just Vox Pop street interview videos, it was quite easy to replicate format. So it meant I just had to come up with questions at home, and then I could rinse and repeat these questions again and again and again. And out of these 20 videos, I was probably able to find 12 usable videos. I could post them all. So I sent them to an editor. I got them edited. I posted them all. Some of them, they did okay. They got like 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. A couple of them did bits for my page, like absolute crazy amounts. One of them, you know, a couple of them, I think like 3 of them hit over 1 mil views, and they made me a good amount, because TikTok now pay, because they're over a minute long, TikTok pay a decent amount through the creativity program. But beyond that, they got me some.
What do TikTok pay a month then for for that.
Oh, they don't. So I've never relied on TikTok to earn my money. I've relied on outside work that's come because of my TikTok following. But TikTok do now pay, if your video's over a minute long and it gets 1,000 views, they have a set sort of rate that they will pay you. And it actually varies. It's so new. No one kind of
But
knows.
1,000 views, have they
It's
got to
roughly
watch,
like $1.
have they got to watch over a minute?
Yeah, so per 1,000 views of people that watch over a minute. So let's say you see your video that's over a minute long, got 1 million views. It would probably actually be a smaller percentage of that of the views of that qualify for the
minute.
for the actual like.
But if it was 10%, it's 100,000. That's a lot. People.
Yeah, and then they pay you about $1 per 1,000 views. But for me, I just see that as like a nice side income. It's a great way to boost my income, but I never rely on it because I've got other opportunities that make money. But yeah, so those videos they made a decent amount, and it was a day's filming. So I made, let's say, like, I don't know, probably in total they'll reap me in a couple grand just from TikTok or whatever. That's cool. But beyond that, because some of those videos did really well, I was then approached by a couple brands about some sort of Vox Pop presenting gigs that they wanted me to do. So the actual value that you get from a video that gets 1 million views is like you cannot quantify it. It's crazy because, and that's the most powerful thing that I've got. It's not the money, it's the network and the opportunities that have come because of the views that I'm able to get and because of the audience that I'm able to gain. So going back to that question, if I were to make a video that gets 1 million views, I wouldn't focus on one video. I'd focus making 20 videos, all that have a good chance of at least one of them getting 1 million views. And even still, right, and
give yourself a day for it.
Yeah, give myself a day and just
go
all in.
To an editor, go all in.
Yeah, like put 20 videos out. Like people aim way too low when they're getting into content creation. They're like, let's try and get like 1 reel a month or 1 TikTok a month. I'm like, you're not going to do anything with that. You need to go, you raise the stakes 10 times your goal and go, let's put out this amount.
Would you put all 20 out at once, or would you like do 20, one a day for 20 days?
You can actually put all of them out at once, right? It doesn't matter. I would to make it sustainable for you, put out like 1 or 2 a day.
But two a day for 10 days.
Yeah, and chances are, if you do that and you're actually following these steps where you're replicating something that's working right now in your niche, chances are one of them videos is going to hit 1 million views. And I forgot to say as well, in a couple of these videos that blew up, I promoted my newsletter. And I had only sort of just started my newsletter, and it got from this sort of short burst, it got 2k leads. I got 2k emails from it, and that's quite hard to do through TikTok. So beyond that, like you can get, so not only was I making money, I was getting leads for other business opportunities and emails, and I was getting recognition. So that's sort of the value that a video that gets you 1 million views can get. And it didn't just do 1 million views on TikTok. I checked just the other day. Some of those videos on Instagram are now putting in 1.5 million views. So it's great.
And they're generating emails.
Generating emails because I had a lead magnet at the end. So I promoted my budget calculator, which then my followers get if they.
What have you learned about lead gen?
I'm very new into it. Like, as a reminder, I'm only 19, so I'm still like very early days in the business world, but I'm really getting into lead gen. And what I found is in some past videos, I've just said, subscribe to my newsletter. No one subscribed. But when I just spent a bit of time creating this budget calculator and I gave that as a gift in exchange for your email, that's when I saw sort of the amount of people signing up skyrocket. And I guess my big tip with lead gen, and this is what I sort of figured out, is people hate in TikTok videos just being like talked at and say, right, go to my bio right now and check out my thing or whatever. It doesn't work like that. But what I did is in these videos, I just sort of naturally integrated the free lead magnet. I said, it was a game called Red Flag, Green Flag. And I said to people, do you think it's a red flag or a green flag if they use a budget calculator? Some people said green flag. And I said, I actually have one for free in my bio if you need one. And they were like, oh, that's cool. I didn't say any more than that. And people just...
Subtle.
Yeah, it's subtle, right? And that's what makes a great influencer from a bad influencer. That's what determines them. If they can promote products in a very subtle way that feels organic to you, right there, I'm just casually mentioning that I have a budget calculator in my bio. I'm not telling my audience, go there right now. And often that will turn them off. But because at the end of the video, I quickly say, oh yeah, I've got it in my bio, check it out, bro. People went and signed up. So particularly if you're like a business owner and you want to get some traction to your site or whatever, if you make a bunch of short form videos, at the end, in a very casual, subtle way, mention the lead magnet like I did, you can get a serious amount of, and this is like basically free. Like I didn't pay a penny to make these videos. It's great.
All right. So it's quite, you're in quite a good place right now. It's worked. You're getting paid healthily from Panasonic and Monday and
for my
brands.
age, definitely. Yeah.
So it's worked. What have been your biggest struggles?
Oh, yeah. I have a lot. So even though I talk about all these good things, there are still so many struggles. Like sometimes I feel like a bit of an imposter because I got into this so young. So constantly I just have to remind myself, yes, you are young, but you know things and you've experienced things that people above you. Because I work with a lot of older people than me, especially in these companies and stuff.
Yeah.
My main struggles have been being able to determine which people around me are going to add value and which people are sort of using me just for what I've got. Determining which.
How did you work that out?
Basically, I had to expand my team a little bit. So I brought in a management to help me with opportunities that came my way. So I'm signed to a management company that my friend was signed to called Alpha Talent. And they connected me with a really good manager, a really good sort of team, and they basically handle
that's
my
right
inbox.
now. So influencers now have got managers.
Yes, yeah, and because I have a manager, at the moment, really nice woman called Andy. She's able to sort of filter through what's good and bad, the opportunities that come my way. Because back in the day, I would just say yes to everything. Because if you're a young person and you're trying to get yourself out there, any opportunity seems good. But then you have to take a step back and realize which opportunities do you actually need to take. And that's where they're helpful.
So you work for yourself. You got a manager.
Yeah.
What do you do when you wake up in the morning? Do you have a plan? Do you just,
Yeah.
What time do you wake up?
I kind of, if I'm honest, right, I live life on my own terms. So I some days I won't even work and I'll just sort of relax because I can, right? I've worked hard. I've got a very flexible working pattern. I don't work set days. So some Saturdays I'll go into London and work. But yeah, I just naturally love what I do. And I kind of I cannot remove myself from my work. It's pretty bad, actually. It's quite hard to maintain a work-life balance.
Look, let's talk the day in the life of an influencer.
It's not sexy. Like I'm not going to say that. So I'll wake up, have some food, go to the gym. I find if I go to the gym in the morning, it kind of helps me focus my mind. I'm Christian, so I'll try and I find that and connecting with God, just if I can do something in the morning like that, get myself out of the house, because I work from home, it's quite helpful. And then I will try and not do too much work now from home. I'll go somewhere else, maybe to a co-working space or a coffee shop somewhere, and I'll just dedicate some time to video scripts, ideas, stuff like that. I try to move all of my meetings now to one day a week, so I can keep the rest of the time free, just to sort of really just get in the zone.
What kind of meetings do you have?
Brands, talking with brands, or working on different projects. Then we might have a meeting or something, or calling my, with my management or something. So I try and just keep them to one day and just carve out a lot of time. And I try and keep my calendar fairly free, just to allow for awesome opportunities that come up. But I'm pretty flexible. No day looks the same. Like today, what did I do? I woke up. I got straight to work on some Panasonic scripts that I wrote. Finished off my newsletter. So it's not very sexy. It's kind of just, you're just getting the work done. I then spent an hour on scripting some videos that I'm going to be filming in a batch.
AI or you script?
So AI is not a good scripter for videos, but it can be very helpful in enabling your scripting. So idea generation, it can be good for. There's certain AI softwares now that can actually, like I said before, they can scan loads of TikTokers, see what their top performing posts are, and give you ideas based off those, which is quite good. And also just shortening sentences, rewording things, AI is very good for. So if the hook of a video is quite important, the first 3-5 seconds. So if I have written out a hook, but I feel like that's quite wordy, I'll give it to ChatGPT and I'll say, can you make it a bit shorter? Or if I see like a bit from a podcast I really like, I'll use AI to transcribe it, and then I'll get it to summarize that bit into bullet points. And then with that, I'll come up with an idea. I'll send it over to ChatGPT, get it to shorten some bits. So it's good in enabling you to sort of help you along the way and make things faster. Or like if I want to reference a book, I can go straight to ChatGPT and say, right, what exactly? So earlier I was writing a script and I wanted to reference a bit that I read in How to Win Friends and Influence People. I couldn't quite remember the wording, so I asked ChatGPT. It instantly said, okay,
right,
talk about that.
First and foremost, it's a good book that you're reading.
Yeah.
What was the bit that you asked it about? How to Win Friends?
First impressions of people. So I was doing a video about, it was a reaction video, and it was talking about someone who was making a bad first impression, because I think it's an important skill in life to, no matter who you meet, you have to try and make a good first impression, because you never know who that person could be, where they could take you.
Who they know.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I wanted to specifically like mention sort of what Dan says in How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Dale Carnegie.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Dale. Yeah. Why did I say Dan? Dale. That's it. And yeah, it was. So that's basically what I did. It was wicked.
Make a good first impression. You never get a second chance to make a first impression.
No, you don't, and that's what I was trying to say.
Okay, so you've felt imposter syndrome sometimes. You've had to work out who's going to use you and who's going to help you.
Yeah.
What other struggles have you had?
I think it was a struggle because I was doing this basically full time alongside doing my studies, like A levels, and I had actually somehow managed to get in a pretty good routine with it. But kind of going full time, it's been tricky because you then suddenly realize like you're on your own. Like you don't get the sort of the social connection, the friends around you that you had in college. It just breaks up your day a bit. So what I've really had to learn is just like you have to create time for yourself to connect with others. So there was a time I was just in my own little bubble, but you've got to network, do things like this, go out. Because often like it's the conversations with your friends, your family that actually inspire a lot of your content ideas.
It's
just
really
unplugging.
Good point, isn't it? There's a glamour for young people to become an influencer, yeah. But the reality is that it can be a lonely place.
Yeah, a lot of people see being an influencer as like you just wake up, you film some videos, you make a ton of money. There's a lot more to it, and I think a big struggle as well is like it's so unpredictable. Like you never know. You could put loads of work into some videos and they flop, right? And what I have kind of had to do is I'm quite into stoicism and just sort of accept. I don't try and place any self-worth in my content or my stuff. I just use it as like data points. I just step back and I think, okay, if I wasn't emotionally attached to these videos and I was just looking at it like a consultant looking over, and I saw that this bit of content hasn't done well, I wouldn't get emotional. I wouldn't get sad. I wouldn't blame anyone else. I would think, okay, why is this the case? What do I need to be doing different? And I would do that. And that's
very logical.
Yeah, I try to be, because if you get too emotionally wrapped up in the content you're creating.
Any other struggles besides you're on your own, imposter syndrome? Which people are going to help me? Which people are going to use me?
Other struggles.
Have you ever struggled financially whilst you're talking about finance and getting the money in?
Yeah, there is sometimes a struggle. Probably, I'm more of like a creative guy than like a business guy. So I did find like the process of registering my company quite stressful, sorting out taxes, but I just got on with it because that's what you have to do. You like, there are some boring
Well,
tasks.
you had to learn it,
Yeah.
and teach other people on your
Exactly.
videos.
Yeah, that's
Guys,
the thing.
I've just had to do my first VAT return, and guess what? This is what I learned.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's that there is a struggle between figuring out how much do I put back into the business and how much do I take for myself. And this year, particularly this sort of financial year, because I have relatively low living expenses, I still live at home. I have been quite fortunate to be able to put a lot of money back into the business, which at the moment I really enjoy.
Just remember, all those dividends you take out, you must put that dividend tax money away.
Yes, yeah, that's I've seen a lot of people
that
talk
will
about
catch
that.
you up in a few months. 12 months later, you have to then start paying it. So there you go. All right. So if you were to summarize for anyone that's wanting to start building a social following, whether it be personally or in business, what are the first three things that people should do to start building that social following?
Okay, the first three things is think about, now if you're a business owner, you'll probably create something around your business. That's cool. If not, just think about what are the things that genuinely excite you, and that you would, if you went to the pub or something, what is the thing that you talk about to your friends or to people that you meet that you naturally always start talking about? For me, I always loved talking about, oh, look at how that business works, or look at this life hack, or look at this way I made some money. So kind of gather those ideas together and think, is this something I could make content about? Then you've picked your niche, right? So you pick your niche and just...
topic and niche it down.
Yeah, niche it down. So it could be finance, it could be fitness, it could be whatever. Next step, similar to what I said earlier, don't go in blindly and just start creating content, because that's what you could do. It's kind of what I did. If you really want to get a head start, look at the experts in your field and start faking it until you make it. So almost in a way pretend to be like them, but put your own spin on it, remix their content, and create it in a similar style. And I guess the last piece of advice is just put in loads of reps. It's like going to the gym. Like if I was a fitness expert and you said, right, I want to get like a 6-pack, they probably say, well, it's just about that consistency. And again, with short form, it's a skill that you will build. So like set your goal really high with short form. It's a really, if you get it right, it can explode your business, your profile. Almost like it felt in like a few weeks my life changed when I finally hit that big video. It was almost like these thoughts that I'd had when I was younger about, I know someday I'm going to make it, I'm going to use these passions, and I'm going to do something without having to get a job, without having to go down the traditional path. I knew deep down.
Are you thinking about getting a job for anyone else, or are you thinking about advancing your own?
Am I thinking about getting a job?
Business? Yeah.
Nah.
You just want to do big brands then?
Yeah, the what I'm looking to do going forward is take equity in startups, give them some value. So I would get like advisory shares, and because that's.
And you do the social side for them.
Yeah, it won't be like a job though. It will be sort of more. I will give my value in a sort of advisory way, create some content, take a couple % or whatever I can get, and I am in talks with a few people about that. But that is, from what I've seen, the way to generate life-changing wealth is if you actually own a company and you provide value to that company. So that's where I'd rather make money. I'd own a piece of something, work with them to do it. But I just value, I think my time is so precious. And the fact that back in September, I went around America for 3 weeks with my girlfriend. I wouldn't have been able to do that with a job. I have just so much freedom and flexibility. I can hire my mates to come and help me for a day. It's it's genuinely like, it's amazing. And I would just worry with a job that I'd be too restricted. Unless I was paid like a serious amount of money and I was able to still manage what I do now. And I have been offered jobs. I was offered one when I was like 17 for 100k because they saw what I was doing. I won't disclose who it was, but it was a friend of mine. He offered a job 100k, and I had the option. I was like, I could quit college, do that, and be making serious money.
Tempted?
You know, when you get an offer like that and you're 16, 17, I can't quite remember, it does seem life-changing. Like, that's more than any of your teachers make in school. But then again, I looked to like, actually, if I thought, well, I can easily generate 100k through content. Like, that's not hard. So why would I take the safe option when I could take the risk? I could make exponentially more in a year through that. If I land the right deals, if I take equity in companies, I can make like 5 times more than that, 6 times.
I like your little summary there for a business. Content topic, niche it down, remix it, and then it's all about the reps.
Yeah, like that's the simplest way to go. It's not like, oh, make a video in this style, make a video in that style. It's because that is a mindset for short form that will last you through the ages, because short form's always changing. There's always different styles. The style that I started with is certainly not what I do now. But if you can constantly look and stay up to date with what's the latest stuff, and you do that by looking at what's working in the big accounts. So every month you need to check in, every week you need to check in and see, okay, people are doing reaction videos right now. Put your ego aside, because often I had this thing where I was like, oh, I just want to create content like this because I know I can do it like that. I'm really used to it. Push the limits, push the boundaries, create stuff in different styles, because that's really important. If you want to stay relevant and you want to stay up to date, don't settle.
If you want to stay relevant, you want to stay up to date, do not settle. What's the best book you've ever read in business or personal growth?
Probably the New Testament in the Bible, just because like I think on a deeper level, if you can model yourself to be like Jesus, even if you're not religious, I think the world has been transformed by Jesus, and I think the way that he approaches things in life is very good. But if we're talking pure like self-help, away from all that, I think it was a book called like Who Moved My Cheese.
Oh yeah, it's classic.
That's a really simple, nice book. That was lovely. Like, I read that maybe a couple months back, and it kind of relates to what I was talking about before, but it's about never settling, because there have been times along my journey I've got too comfortable. I've got too sort of relaxed in like, okay, this style works, and then you start slipping away a bit. But if you're constantly looking around and you accept, okay, I have this now, but this might not work and I might have to do something soon. That book was really cool, and it only took me like a day to read. So I really enjoyed reading that book.
Yeah, and that's with plenty of breaks as well.
Yes.
That's with going to the gym, and having your dinner. You know, it's only a small book. What's the first thing that people should do once they've listened to this?
Start creating some content, man. Like especially like people who listen to this, business owners, people who want to get ahead in life. Don't underestimate how accessible short form content is now. It's a really great opportunity. You know, times have changed. Like back in the day, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. When I was younger, I always thought if I want to do something in the media like this, I'd have to work with the BBC. But right now, like if I wanted to make a documentary about something, I could do it like today. So just realize how accessible short form is, because it's easy. It's, you know, I like YouTube and I will get into it properly one day, and I am slowly working into it. But I think with short form, just recognize how fast, easy it is to grow, and just start creating some content. The simplest action is just look at other people in your niche. Like, if you want to just do one thing after this podcast, is look at other people in your niche, filter to their most viral videos, their highest viewed videos, and start thinking, is it because they're smart? Probably not, because There are people way smarter than me who know way more about personal finance. Okay, so it's not actually about being smart. It's about being able to put an idea or a format in a very engaging and interesting way in a video, and you don't have to be an expert to do that. So anyone can do it. Anyone can do it.
Number of things I've liked in terms of what you said here. I mean, definitely, you've opened my eyes to what it feels like to be an influencer, a young influencer. And I do see the earning potential as well. I see the real earning potential from a brand kind of working with you. You've opened everybody the eyes to the sort of the hard bits. It can be lonely. It can be really lonely.
Being an entrepreneur is a struggle. Like, every day you are going to question yourself. There's no doubt about that. And there are times that I look at sort of what a job could offer, and I think that would be a lot more stable. But I wouldn't be able to live without the risk, because I love the risk.
Yes, you do. You do. I mean, but my other favourite thing is your blueprint.
Oh, yeah.
The blueprint for virality, the chance of virality. You give us two little variations of that. Well, it's the same variation. One's a bit shorter. Content topic, niche it down, remix it, and then it's all about the reps every single day. What's been your favourite part?
I've loved the way that you've asked the questions, and I can tell that you actively want to learn. I've really appreciated that, and it's always nice talking to other people, because you kind of consolidate ideas in your head. So yeah, I've massively enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, it's not just me learning, it's the audience learning as well. There you go, the chance of people going viral just increased.
Yes, guys.
Noahxboa, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.